All right, let's get into the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls. Thanks for clicking on the video. My name's Adam. Today I'm talking about the Chicago Bulls and about their current situation with their new team, and doing a little season preview video. We're doing all 30 NBA teams in reverse order of how I think the standings will be. Right now, we just finished up with the Warriors, and the Bulls are now the team we're going to talk about. Both I have as being the 7 seeds in their respective conferences. So before we get into it, feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment, tell me where I'm wrong, tell me why the Knicks need to be the number 1 seed. I got Knicks hate, man. I'll tell you what, the Pacers play the Knicks preseason today. I'm going to watch that, and whoever wins, I'm putting ahead in the standings. No, I'm just kidding. Let's get into it before I lose people. All right, so let's talk about the Bulls. Obviously, they had like the biggest offseason. I don't like saying like winners and losers of the offseason or, all these different things. It's just because more teams can do a lot of things in the offseason as far as their salary situation goes, more than other teams, right? Like the Suns and the Bucks, like they didn't do anything, right? Like they didn't add a big player, but they stayed put, got some other veterans on the team, and like they're still fine. Like they didn't lose anybody, right? So I think that's still a win. So the Bulls, let's talk about them. Let's talk about who they got. Let's talk about free agency first. A lot of people here. Tony Bradley, Alex Caruso. I like the Caruso pickup a lot. They're going to probably wipe away minutes from Kobe White with Caruso there. Tyler Cook, Alize Johnson, Stanley Johnson, Matt Thomas, Ethan Thompson. And let's talk about the big dogs that have coming in that are going to Chicago this season and are, Chicago fans are all pumped about. Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan. And then they also acquired Derek Jones as well. And then also selected Ayu Dosunmu in the draft. But we're here to talk about the new big four for the Bulls. You got LaVine, you got Vucevic, who they traded for last season. You have Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan. So, they did gut their team a little bit, right? Like Al-Farouq Amino, Lauri Markkanen, Satoransky, Temple, Tice, Thaddeus Young, Denzel Valentine. Like these guys were getting minutes last year, and now I think there will be a kind of a introduction period to the team. We'll kind of have to see how they adjust. I mean, these are guys, DeRozan and LaVine and Vucevic, who are taking a lot of shots for their teams when they were with Orlando and with the Spurs. Like, it's going to be interesting to see like how the offense flows, right? Be super interesting. I think the big winner though is Lonzo. I think Lonzo's in a situation where he doesn't need to be a scorer. He just needs to facilitate, need to play defense, get others involved. I think it's a really good spot for him. I just kind of wonder if there's going to be a tug of war for shots and usage with DeRozan and with LaVine, and I would prefer to probably put the ball in LaVine's hand. But how many times are we going to see like DeRozan own a possession when it probably isn't the best thing for the team? So that's kind of what the Bulls did. I give them a B, to be honest with you, for their offseason. I know that they got the big fish with both DeRozan and with Lonzo. Like they add these two known players and bring them on the team. I don't know exactly how the fit works, but I'm a little higher than them than what Vegas has, and we'll get into that here in just a moment. Let's look at their salary cap sheet. It's pretty nice looking. I recently talked about how the Pacers have a salary cap situation where they're not even paying one of their best players $30 million. Same is the case here with Chicago. The Bulls aren't paying somebody a huge amount of money. Now, people hate on the DeRozan contract. I get that. He's a little older. They're going to give him this 3-year deal. A little suspect on that, and we'll see how that signing ages as the season goes on. But Vucevic is underpaid for what he does, 24 and 22 over the next couple of years. LaVine's situation with his contract extension will be something that will be monitored throughout the season. They need to extend LaVine, and then Lonzo they just brought in. Other than that, they don't really have any horrible contracts. I love how they're built. Derek Jones, you can say what you want about him, and wasn't getting a whole lot of time in Portland. There's my dog on screen. And so basically, I am wondering a little bit about how they're going to implement, Patrick Williams, who was kind of going to emerge a little bit, I feel like, this last year. But he ended up, having all these new players on this team this year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Let's go talk about Kobe White. I kind of mentioned him. We'll talk a little bit more about him in the rotations. But just a solid built team. I don't think there's a horrible contract. You can, again, say what you want about the DeRozan signing, but it is what it is. So we will see what happens there. Let's move over to what I have here for the rotations. So I already mentioned a little bit about how I believe Kobe White's just gone. Like they're moving on from Kobe White. It's going to be Lonzo, it's going to be Caruso, it's going to be LaVine. But let's talk about the starting lineup for the Bulls. Lonzo, LaVine, DeRozan, Patrick Williams, Vucevic. It, kind of doesn't need to be said, but that's their five. They'll roll out reserves of Kobe White, Alex Caruso, Troy Brown, Derek Jones, and Tony Bradley. Now, I do think that this is a team that is pretty good with their starting five. I would be, if I was, coaching Chicago, I would almost feel like, is there a way that I can convince DeRozan to just come off the bench? Because I don't know how many minutes I want to be putting him on the floor along with LaVine, taking shots away from him and Vucevic. I just don't know, especially when he's not that great of a shooter. And I know he's taking more threes and he maybe hits them at a little higher percentage, but he's not, I don't know. He's not the guy that I would be like, hey, go sit on the perimeter and we'll kick it out to you and you can go hit a three. He doesn't fit that mold. So I do worry a little bit in the half court situations with DeRozan. But ultimately, I still love how they're built. I think they're a little bit better defensively with Lonzo. And they did get Derek Jones, and so I think they add versatility there, and Caruso as well. I do worry about DeRozan. Again, I think I would have this team a little bit higher if it weren't for DeRozan. If DeRozan was a different player that maybe shot a little bit better, that I think was a better defender, then I think I would love this team a little bit more. But he just makes me wince a little bit, and he makes me hesitate as to what I believe this team can accomplish for the future. But that's how their rotations are. I think, honestly, they're going to probably be heavy minutes for all five of those starters. Like, all of them are going to break 30, and then there's not really going to be a bench player outside of Caruso that I feel like will have a huge impact to them winning. Speaking about winning, let's talk about their over-under number here. Chicago is at 41.5, which I was actually shocked at. Excuse me. According to the Action Network, teams that are above the win total for above Chicago as far as win projections, one of them is Indiana. I talked about them yesterday. I think this Chicago team could be better than Indiana. I could also see Indiana be better than Chicago. So you kind of are just cutting things close when you're breaking these down. I know people are going to hate on the Knicks at 9, but it is what it is. I mean, Chicago is at 41 and the Knicks are at 40, or Chicago's at 41.5 here. The Knicks are at 41. So it's like, I thought, wasn't it universally thought of that the Bulls were going to be a lot better this year? Look, there's still a lot of good teams in the East, and a lot of teams I like better. I'll keep them at 7, and I will take the over, though, on their 41.5. I'll give them 42, 43 wins. I would be shocked, though, to see them win 45. Like I said, there's good teams out west they'll probably lose to on the road, and then there's teams in the East that I just think are better than they are. So we'll see how that goes. So I'll put them at 42, 43 wins, but again, I would cap their ceiling at 45. I just don't think they're going to be that this season, especially given that I think the first 10 to 15 games we're going to see them kind of try to figure out what they are exactly on offense and defense, and try to work with how they can work together as a unit. Also, Patrick Williams is also injured, so he'll miss the first few weeks of the season. Makes things a little bit more difficult there as well, trying to get continuity going with the Bulls. But what do you think? You think the Bulls are good? You think they're going to be a team that could get home court advantage? I don't. I would be shocked if that were to be the case. But obviously anything can happen in the NBA. That's it for my video on the Bulls, and for the videos today. Tomorrow I will be talking about the 6 seeds in the Eastern and the Western Conference. Let's do a quick recap here, and we'll do another video going through all 30 teams and how I think they'll stack up. 7 through 15 seed in the Western Conference. We have Golden State, Portland, New Orleans, Memphis, Minnesota, Sacramento, San Antonio, Houston, and Oklahoma City in that order from 7 to 15. 7 to 15 on the Eastern side, Chicago here. The Pacers, the Knicks, the Wizards, the Hornets, the Raptors, the Pistons, the Cavaliers, and the Magic. So that's how I have it shaping up. Let's get out of here, and we'll catch you in the next video.